Shopping for a laptop can be a daunting task since there are tons of options to choose from. Also, most laptops are available with various display, CPU, GPU, and memory configurations, making the choice even harder. To help you narrow down your options, we've put together a list of our top picks for different uses, and hopefully, you can find something that interests you. If you want more information and updated pricing on the products mentioned, check the links in the description box below. So let's dive into the video. Number 6. Dell XPS 13. If you need a portable device for general productivity tasks like web browsing, text formatting, and video playback, we recommend the Dell XPS 13 2021, the best laptop with a thin and light design we've tested. It's a sleek and stylish Windows laptop with incredibly thin bezels and a sturdy aluminum chassis. It's compact and lightweight, making it easy to carry around, and its battery lasts over 10 hours of light productivity. It charges over USB-C, so you don't have to worry about lugging around a proprietary charger. When it comes to user experience, the XPS 13 is truly among the best. It has a colorful 1080p display that gets bright enough to combat glare, and you can upgrade to a 4K IPS or OLED panel, albeit at the cost of shorter battery life. The keyboard feels great to type on and isn't tiring as its scissor switches have a good amount of travel and satisfying tactile feedback. The touchpad is reasonably large for such a compact device, and it tracks all movements and gestures well. As for the configuration, unless you have an extremely light workload, most people should get at least a Core i5 with 8 GB of memory. Going up to 16 GB of memory isn't necessary, however, keep in mind that the memory isn't user upgradable, so it's better to get more upfront. Unfortunately, you only get 2 USB-C ports, a microSD card reader, and a headphone jack, but at least both USB-Cs support Thunderbolt 4. Overall, this is a great option for anyone looking for a portable and stylish laptop, and as many people are still working remotely, it's also one of the best laptops for home use. Number 5. Acer Chromebook Spin 713. If you have a light workload and can perform all of your tasks in a Chrome browser, a Chromebook might be a good fit, like the Acer Chromebook Spin 713. It's a 13-inch 2-in-1 convertible with a 360-degree hinge, which means you can use it as a tablet or go into tent mode for presentations and media consumption. It's compact and lightweight, and its battery lasts over 12 hours of light productivity, long enough to get you through a typical school or workday. Since Chrome OS is a light operating system designed for low-end hardware, the Core i3 model with 4 GB is more than adequate to provide a smooth desktop experience, though you'll have to limit the number of apps you have open at once. It's worth going up to 8 GB, but expect to pay a little more. Its QHD display has a 3:2 aspect ratio, which gives you more vertical space so that you don't need to scroll as much when reading a document or website, and it gets bright enough to combat glare. The keyboard feels comfortable to type on and is quiet, so you don't need to worry about causing too much noise in a quiet classroom or office. If you've never used a Chromebook before, just know that it doesn't support regular Windows x86 applications. It means you can only use web-based applications through the Chrome browser, Android apps, or Linux apps. If you need x86 applications for your school or work, you're better off with a Windows device. Nonetheless, this is a great thin and light productivity laptop worth checking out. Number 4. Lenovo Yoga 9i14. If you need a 2-in-1 convertible Windows laptop, go with the Lenovo Yoga 9i14. It's a thin and light laptop with a sturdy build and a sleek design. It's available in 2 color schemes, mica and shadow black, but there are a couple of differences that you should know. The mica model's lid is just aluminum, and it has a traditional touchpad with mechanical buttons and a capacitive fingerprint sensor. However, the shadow black model has a leather-clad lid, a haptic touchpad, and an ultrasonic fingerprint sensor. Also, you can only get the shadow black model with a Core i7 CPU. The 1080p display is sharp and colorful, and it gets bright enough for use in well-lit settings. You can upgrade to an even brighter 4K panel if you prefer, though expect the battery life to take a hit. The included stylus has 4096 levels of pressure sensitivity, but it doesn't support tilt, so it's more for note-taking and quick doodles than actual drawing. The keyboard feels spacious and tactile. And while the touchpad is a bit small, it tracks all movements and gestures well, the port selection is good and includes two USB-Cs with Thunderbolt for support, a USB-A, and a headphone jack. The battery lasts about 9 hours of light use, which is just barely enough to get through a typical 8-hour day, though you may have to plug it in if you perform more demanding tasks. As for the CPU and memory configurations, you can choose between a Core i5, Mica model, or i7, and 8GB or 16GB of RAM, depending on your needs. Overall, it's a great option for anyone looking for a Windows 2-in-1 convertible. Number 3. Apple MacBook Pro 14. We recommend the Apple MacBook Pro 14 for your workstation. Like the Apple MacBook Air 13 M1 2020, it feels exceptionally well built, and while it's slightly larger and thicker than the Air, it's still a very portable device that fits easily into most bags. It has Apple's new MagSafe charging port to prevent the laptop from falling off a table should you trip on the cord, which is a nice quality of life feature, especially for such a premium laptop. Other ports include 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports, an HDMI, a full-size SD card reader, and a headphone jack. As for the user experience, it's top-notch. You get a keyboard that feels comfortable to type on all day, as well as a gigantic and responsive haptic touchpad that still sets the standard for all other laptops. Its mini LED display has full DCI-P3 coverage and gets incredibly bright, making it suitable for viewing and producing HDR content, and its color accuracy is superb out of the box. It's also a promotion display, which means it can dynamically adjust the refresh rate up to 120 Hz to make motion smoother or lower it to extend battery life. Apple's M1 Pro and M1 Max processors can handle all types of workloads but are particularly well suited for content creation as they have dedicated media engines that improve performance significantly. There's a 16-inch model if you prefer a larger screen. It performs almost identically but has even longer battery life and better sounding speakers. Overall, it's an amazing option if you're looking for a laptop with near desktop-like performance. Number 2. ASUS ROG Zephyrus G14. Our pick for gaming is the ASUS ROG Zephyrus G14, 2022. It features an AMD Ryzen 9 6900HS CPU with 8 cores and 16 threads, and you can choose between an AMD Radeon RX 6700S or 6800S GPU. Both GPUs are powerful enough to provide a good gaming experience, and they're also suitable for production workloads like video editing and 3D animation. The laptop feels very well built even though it's mostly plastic, and it's available in 2 color schemes, Moonlight White or Eclipse Gray. Performance-wise, the AMD Radeon RX 6700S can push fairly high frame rates, even at the display's native QHD+ resolution. For example, it reaches around 80 frames per second at high settings in shadow of the Tomb Raider, with almost no noticeable stutter. The AMD Radeon RX 6800S is about 5 to 15% faster on average, so it may or may not be worth upgrading depending on the price. Thermal throttling is minimal, but the laptop does get hot and loud under load. As for the display, you get a 1610 QHD panel with a 120 Hz refresh rate and FreeSync support. It delivers a clear image in fast-moving scenes, and it has full coverage of the DCI-P3 color space, making it well suited for content creation. Unlike the previous G14 from 2021, there's now a webcam, and Asus has also added a Windows Hello compatible IR camera for quick logins. There's plenty more to praise about the G14, but the main takeaway is that it's a well-rounded and versatile laptop that most people will be happy with. Number 1. Lenovo Legion 5 Gen 615. If you're shopping on a smaller budget and find the ASUS ROG Zephyrus G14, 2022, too expensive, consider the Lenovo Legion 5 Gen 615, 2021. It's a well-built 15.6-inch laptop with many configuration options. You can choose between an AMD Ryzen 5 or Ryzen 7 CPU and various NVIDIA dedicated GPUs, up to an RTX 3070. It's available with 8, 16, or 32 GB of memory. However, we highly recommend getting at least 16 GB as 8 GB isn't enough for some games and will cause stutters. The memory is user replaceable, meaning you can upgrade it yourself later. In terms of the display options, it's best to go with the 1080p or 1440p 165 Hz panel for the best visual experience. If you choose to get the 1440p display, you'll have to pair it with an NVIDIA GeForce RTX 3070 GPU to get the most out of it. Otherwise, any GPU will do if you plan on only gaming at 1080p. The AMD Ryzen 5 5600H is more than powerful enough for gaming, but it might be worth upgrading to the Ryzen 7 5800H if you plan on keeping the laptop for a long time. If you plan on gaming on the go, this laptop isn't overly bulky, but it's heavy. Thankfully, the power adapter is relatively compact, and you'll need it as the battery lasts only a little more than 1 hour when gaming. Nonetheless, this is a good option to consider if you're shopping on a limited budget. Our recommendations above are what we think are currently the best laptops to buy for most people. We factor in the price. A cheaper laptop wins over a pricier one if the difference isn't worth it, feedback from our visitors, and availability. No laptops that are difficult to find or almost out of stock everywhere. If you prefer to make your own decision, here's the list of all of our laptop reviews, sorted by price from low to high. Keep in mind that most laptops are available in various configurations, and the table only shows the results of the model we tested, so it's best to see the full review for information about other variants.